When your cat quietly comes over, lies beside you, or gently rubs against you when you're stressed, do you actually know what it means? Most people think they're just looking for warmth, a comfortable spot, or maybe a bit of attention. And sure, it looks harmless, even a little random. You probably assume it's just another one of those simple cat habits. But here's what most people miss. That moment isn't random at all. The truth is deeper than that. What your cat is doing in those moments may be one of the clearest emotional signals they can give. They're not just being there. They're responding to you, to your state, in the only way they know how. And if you misunderstand it, you might be missing a quiet form of connection that's been happening right in front of you. Because this isn't just behavior, it's bonding. And if your cat suddenly stops doing this, what that really means is something very few owners ever stop to notice. But let's slow down for a second. Because if you look closely, this behavior isn't as random as it seems. Have you ever noticed that your cat tends to show up right when you're feeling the most drained? Maybe after a long day, when you sit down quietly, or when your mind is heavy with stress? Somehow, they just appear. Most people think it's just coincidence, that your cat simply happened to be nearby, or that they're just following their usual routine. But here's what they miss. It's not random at all. Cats are creatures of pattern. They repeat what matters. And when a behavior keeps happening in specific emotional moments, not just random times, that's a signal. Behaviorists have long observed that cats are highly sensitive to subtle changes in their environment, especially changes in their human's behavior. Your posture, your energy, even how still or tense you become, all of that shifts when you're stressed. So when your cat shows up in those exact moments, it's not luck, it's awareness. And in their own quiet way, they're choosing to be there when you need it most. That's not coincidence. That's intention. Now, here's something even more interesting. Have you ever wondered how your cat seems to know you're stressed, even when you haven't said a word? Most people assume cats can't really read emotions the way dogs do. They think cats are more distant, less aware, more focused on themselves. But the truth is, cats are reading something you don't even realize you're giving off. When you're stressed, your body changes, your scent changes, you release different hormones, like cortisol, and your breathing and skin chemistry subtly shift. And cats, with their incredibly sensitive sense of smell, pick up on this instantly. Studies in animal behavior suggest that cats rely heavily on scent to interpret their world. It's how they identify territory, safety, and even emotional states. So when your scent changes, your cat doesn't just notice, they interpret it. To them, something about you is different. Something is off. And their response? They move closer. Not because they want something, but because they've detected a shift in you. In human terms, it's almost like they're saying, I feel it too. That's not indifference. That's awareness on a level most people never see. But here's where it becomes even more personal. Have you ever noticed that your cat doesn't do this with everyone? Not every guest, not every family member. Sometimes it's just you. And most people brush this off, thinking their cat is just being selective, or maybe even a little moody. But it goes deeper than preference. Cats don't spread their energy equally. In the wild, they conserve it. They choose carefully where to invest their attention, their presence, their closeness. And when a cat consistently comes to you, especially in your most vulnerable moments, it's not just habit, it's selection. You are the one they've chosen to connect with. Research into feline social bonding shows that cats form specific attachment patterns, not unlike selective social bonds seen in other animals. They don't just like people randomly. They build associations over time: safety, familiarity, emotional consistency. So when your cat comes to you when you're stressed, it's not just because you're there. It's because to them, you matter. You are part of their safe world. And in that moment, when they sit beside you or gently press against you, they're not just sharing space. They're sharing connection. That's not casual. That's chosen. And once you start to see that, you begin to realize this behavior isn't just about being nearby. It's about something much deeper that most people completely overlook. Something that goes beyond awareness, beyond scent, and into the very instinct of what it means for a cat to stay close. And this is where things start to become a little counterintuitive. Have you ever wondered why a cat, an animal known for being cautious, independent, even a little distant, would choose to come closer when you're at your lowest? Most people assume cats don't think that deeply, that they're just reacting to comfort, warmth, or habit. But here's what they miss. In the wild, closeness is risk. Cats are both predators and prey. Their survival depends on maintaining control over space, distance, and escape routes. They don't casually approach vulnerability, not their own, and definitely not someone else's. When something feels off in their environment, their instinct is usually to observe from a distance, not move closer into it. So when your cat walks towards you when your energy shifts, when you're quieter, heavier, less predictable, that's not neutral behavior. That's a decision that goes against instinct. Behavior researchers often point out that proximity, in animals like cats, is one of the clearest indicators of perceived safety. They don't stay close to what they don't trust. They don't linger where they feel uncertain. So if your cat chooses to come near you in those moments, they're not just reacting, they're overriding caution. And in emotional terms, that says something very simple, but very powerful. I feel safe with you, even when something feels wrong. That's not small. That's trust in its purest form. Now let's go even deeper into that. Have you ever noticed how your cat doesn't just come close, but stays? Maybe they curl up beside you, rest against your body, or quietly remain there longer than usual. Most people see this and think, oh, they just got comfortable, or they found a warm spot. But comfort alone doesn't explain consistency. What most owners don't realize is that this kind of staying behavior is part of something much bigger, something closer to what scientists call social bonding. Cats may not be pack animals like dogs, but they do form social bonds, just in quieter, more selective ways. Studies on feline behavior show that cats create what are known as preferred social partners. And with those partners, their behavior changes. More proximity, more contact, more emotional synchronization. So when your cat stays with you during those moments, it's not just about where they are. It's about who they've chosen to be with. In a way, they're aligning themselves with you. And emotionally, that translates to something very human. I'm here with you. You're not alone. That's not just presence. That's connection. If you've ever experienced this with your cat, stay put. The following will make you look at this act completely differently, because what looks like quiet companionship on the surface may actually be something much more active happening underneath. There's a subtle layer here that most people never notice. It's not just that your cat comes closer or stays longer. It's what their presence is doing, the rhythm of their breathing, the warmth of their body, even the low vibration of a purr. These aren't random details. Some researchers suggest that a cat's purring can have calming effects, not just for themselves, but for others nearby. It can slow things down, regulate tension, shift the atmosphere in ways you don't consciously register. So your cat isn't just there during your stress. They may be influencing it, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, steadily, almost like they're holding the emotional space around you. And once you begin to sense that, you realize this behavior isn't just about comfort or even just about trust. It's about something deeper your cat is doing without ever needing to be seen. And that's where the real meaning starts to unfold. And this is the part most people never truly see, even when it's happening right in front of them. Have you ever noticed how your cat doesn't just sit near you, but settles into a very specific rhythm? The slow breathing, the steady stillness, the soft, almost hypnotic purring. Most people think it's just a sign that the cat is relaxed, that they're comforting themselves, not you. But here's what they miss. That rhythm isn't random. Cats are incredibly sensitive to energy and state. In the wild, the regulating their own body, heart rate, breathing, tension, is essential for survival. And when they feel safe enough, they can influence the environment around them simply by maintaining that calm, steady presence. Some animal behaviorists suggest that purring, especially in lower frequencies, can have a regulating effect, not just on the cat, but on anyone nearby. It can slow things down, soften tension, and subtly shift emotional states. So when your cat curls up beside you and begins to purr, they're not just existing in that moment. They're stabilizing it. Almost like they're saying, without words, stay here. It's okay. And in that quiet, physical closeness, something invisible happens. Your breathing softens, Your body loosens. The noise in your head fades. Just a little. That's not accidental. That's your cat, ecos, holding space for you in the only language they have. That's not just comfort. That's emotional alignment. But here's where it becomes something deeper and a little more fragile. Have you ever thought about what it would mean if your cat suddenly stopped doing this? At first, most people wouldn't notice, or they'd assume the cat is just tired, distracted, or growing more independent. It's easy to brush off, because this behavior was never allowed to begin with. But that's exactly why it matters. Cats don't offer this kind of closeness lightly. It's not a default behavior. It's something they build over time, through repeated safety, familiarity, and emotional consistency. It's a quiet agreement between you and them. So, if that behavior begins to fade, it's not always random. Sometimes, it's a shift, a change in how safe they feel, a change in how connected they are, or a change in something they can no longer express the same way. Research into feline attachment shows that when bonds weaken or environments change, cats often don't react dramatically. They withdraw subtly. They give less of themselves, little by little. And the absence of something gentle can be more meaningful than the presence of something loud. So when your cat stops coming to you in those moments, stops choosing you when you're at your lowest, it may not just be about behavior. It may be about connection. Because what they were giving you wasn't automatic. It was something rare, something chosen. And once you realize that, you start to see this behavior for what it truly is. Not just a small habit, but a quiet emotional thread that's been holding the two of you closer than you ever knew. So what does all of this really mean? What your cat is doing in those quiet moments isn't small, and it isn't random. When they come closer, lie beside you, or gently press against you while you're stressed, they're not just looking for warmth or attention like most people assume. They're choosing you. They're responding to you, feeling the shift in you, and staying anyway. Not out of habit, but out of connection. In their own silent way, they're sharing space with your emotions, helping you carry something you can't always put into words. Your cat isn't just being there. They're telling you that you're safe to feel what you feel, and that you don't have to feel it alone. What looks like a small, simple behavior may actually be one of the deepest forms of bonding your cat can offer. Because in their world, closeness is never casual. And when they give it to you like this, that's not random. That's connection.